Hey, let's get this started. Hello, everyone. I am Pointed, and this is the track that I have built for the Forza community. The name of this track is X.VI.X, which is ultimately just X.VI.X. It's named after my team. So you got X.VI.X Motorsport. Um, the X.VI.X is just the Roman numeral numbers. Um, yeah, let's go ahead and get it started. So we're going to go turn by turn um, about how this track actually came about, the inspiration behind this track, and why did I place certain things there. We're going to work our way around till we get to the pit lane. The pit lane is going to be I guess, the thing that basically ties this all together because I've actually figured out how to do something that will make this track feel more realistic, and I'm pretty sure you all are going to enjoy it. So let's start at the start line. Um, so about this track, before I even came in game to build it, I have a whiteboard that I use to basically draw the layouts of the tracks that I would like to build. Mostly they're like motorsport style tracks. So I've only done one before that's called Karma Motorsport, and that one is going to tie in a little bit to this track, just based off of the overall width of the track. So on that track that I built, Karma Motorsport, I noticed on the GT3 racing that I was watching, the width wise, you can only go 3 cars wide before you end it off road in the gravel, so to speak. Um, so I was doing open track days on that track, and one of the things that people were saying was that the track felt a little tight to drive on, but mostly it's because they wanted to go faster than I really built the track for. So motorsport style track is built for cornering and things of that nature, and the same goes here, but I tweaked it a bit. So on this track, it's not 3 cars wide, it's 4 cars and a quarter. So about 4 cars and a quarter worth width, to basically help with the overall flow and smoothness of the track. And I gotta say that this track actually feels a lot better um, with me implementing that concept and taking that feedback from those individuals. They know who they are. So with that being said, we're gonna start at the start line. So this track right here was inspired by Sebring, Sebring Raceway, just from the start point. You know, it's like it's a concrete road, so I wanted to take that concrete approach at the beginning of the race. So from the start to the first turn up until the second turn there, and coming off of the last turn, just coming back into the straightaway going into uh, the start line. I wanted to do that concrete approach. I wanted to bring that concrete approach to this track. So that's the inspiration around here. And I also noticed around the starting lane, it's simple, very minimalistic. Not a lot going on. That's why you want to see this placed here. And on Sebring, it's like boxed off. And I wanted to use a prop in here that basically gave that same effect. But since this track isn't in its entirety inspired by um, Sebring, this track has a bit more flow to it, um, as it stands with like the smoothness and how you can go in into corners, come out of corners, and things of that nature. So I wanted something with a little bit of flow, and this part right here worked very, very good for that. Um, yeah, and there's nothing else behind it because I wanted to keep it very simple when passing this. The stadium actually worked perfect. I actually wanted to always build a track here in the stadium. Never could really get the proportions of how I actually wanted it to the road to look, because as you begin to build here in the stadium, you start to realize very quickly how small the stadium is in the inside when you want to build certain type of tracks. Um, in a track like this, I quickly found out how small this was in the inside. Although it looks very, very big, um, outside of you basically building anything here, really. But yeah, I wanted this to look very minimalistic. And it also helps that there are already stands here and lights. So during nighttime, this track, it actually looks like a motorsport prepared type of track. Didn't really have to use any lights or any stands like I normally use because all it comes equipped with it. So that was also a plus. We're gonna go straight to this first turn. Like I said, it's very minimalistic. I wanted to capture that same feel from the Sebring. As you're coming off of the start line into the first corner into that first left-hand turn, and then it goes right into gravel, and it leads all the way up into that first left-hand turn. So I wanted to keep that same effect. Very speedy section coming through here. So you're gonna see, we'll just start with the aesthetics and then go into the next turn, and then we'll look right into this little portion right here. So a lot of the props that I did use was just for aesthetics. I noticed that on Sebring also, as you will see once I make it past the third turn there going into the straightaway, you're gonna see there are going to be some props to the side, these yellow props. I noticed that Sebring on certain turns had those sitting to the side. They're like little sponsor boards. And in some places they had these little small 100, 200, 300 yard indicators when going into a turn. So I wanted, there's no props inside of the game that basically uses numbers like that. But I did notice these right here. And I wanted to keep that same type of effect. And I figured that these will work really, really good to give that same type of look and feel. The next thing that I added was these tires. You're gonna see these tires around almost every corner that's leading in the desired direction, and I wanted to add these here to take away the urge to cut the track. And the reason why I did that is because a lot of these corners don't have checkpoints. There are only a total of 4 checkpoints here, and I did that because um, I didn't want to take away from the track itself. So when you're driving on the track, you don't have your vision always being obscured by the checkpoints. I wanted to feel like an open area where you could basically, while you're racing, you're not always hearing the sound of a checkpoint or always seeing a checkpoint coming up and things of that nature. You just focused on the track. So I wanted to use as little checkpoints as I possibly could. Now going into this first turn, it's a very flowing turn. You can come through this turn pretty fast coming off of the straight line coming into this corner. Um, Nothing really here. Like I said, same aesthetic. The same aesthetic here. Going into this turn right here. Like I said, you're going to see all of these around here. This is also a corner that you can come to pretty quick. You can come through it pretty quick. And here are the boards that I was talking about. Normally, these boards are like sponsor boards on Sebring. You will see them. Some would be like Michelin boards or things of that nature. There's a lot of these boards in the props. In the prop, I'm gonna just call it the object store or project prop store. They come in like many different colors. I chose this one because it seemed to go better with this track than the other colors did. There were some like blue ones, red ones, and things of that nature. But these are very minimal, not a lot going on, very simple, which I wanted to keep that theme going. Also, too, a tribute to Sebring. The RVs tent area where you would normally see the crowd at and stuff like this. So I had to add this in this area because this was the largest area, open area, on this track. As you can see, some of these other areas, like that one right there, or this one right here, they're pretty open, or this one right here. But passing these areas, you wouldn't really notice them coming off of the corners. This one right here was very, very noticeable. So I had to add something here. And I figured why not? There's a portion or a picture that I found on when I searched the Sebring Raceway of their this huge area full of RVs, tents, smaller tents, things of that nature, like a gathering area, so to speak. So I wanted to add that just as an aesthetic also, coming off of the first turn. This will be the first thing you see coming off of the first corner to second corner, leading into the third corner, and going up the straight before you get to the this area up here. Um, Also too, I had to add these cameras. They're not really functional cameras, they're prop cameras. I wish that they would had some type of function within like the replay. Uh, like when you try to replay the track, you can actually utilize these cameras here um, to basically for viewing. Kind of like how certain racing games have. When you go to the replay, you can kind of view it from the. It's like the action camera almost. But yeah, same aesthetic here. Tires, boards. Going into this turn. This turn right here is a pretty flowing turn. Uh, this is turn 4. Pretty quick turn right here. Pretty wide turn. Like I said, this track is pretty wide compared to the last motorsport track that I've done. But it's a very flowing turn. Um, this prop here, as you can see, I'm going with the green aesthetic here, based off of the prop that's over the start line. So I wanted to keep that theme going. So most of the props that I use are going to be green to kind of fill it in. So also too, you're going to see in certain areas of the track, you're going to see certain things other than the tires and the basically the I would say the yard indicator basically. That's what those 100, 200, 300 things would be, boards would be for, I'm guessing. A lot of the things that I used, a lot of the props that I did end up using are here to basically fill in this area because this track is, it's not a, this track, if I didn't use this, it would seem pretty flat in certain areas. So I wanted to use certain things to basically fill it in. That's why you see in certain areas I don't have boards here. Um, these yellow boards, I don't put them there. I decided to go with this prop right here, and it worked really well in this area because coming off of this corner from this here the up into turn 6 there, it was very flat. It felt like it was missing something, so I had to find a prop that basically added some type of filler to this portion of the track right here, and this worked very well. It's very big. There's not a lot of props that are very wide. There's some, but they're very like boxy. And this track, I was going for flow more than anything. Very smooth cornering, um, very like curvy in nature, not really boxy. So a lot of the turns are very curvy. You can go in and out of the corners fairly quick. Um, Braking, I wouldn't say braking on this track is minimal, but there's not a lot of areas on this track where there is heavy braking. You don't have to heavy brake on this track like some of the other tracks that I built. But yeah, um, this right here, it worked very well here. It also adds to this area at night, even though the stadium is really, really lit because of the abundance of lights on this inside of the stadium. So I didn't really have to add any lights inside of here at all, actually, which was actually a plus because I normally have to add lights and stuff, but I didn't have to do that here. And it works well. It lights the track up well. You can see all of the corners very well because of that. Same thing here, tires. Tires, and I put the little boards right here. I had to add tires right here too. Although this is a very speedy section, I always like corners like this. So this corner, or the inspiration behind this area here, comes from um, the Nürburgring. Believe it or not, there's a part of the Nürburgring where it's very like speedy. So if you catch the corner right, you can just get on the borders here, 2 wheels off, 2 wheels on type of thing, and the same thing goes here, 2 wheels off, 2 wheels. So I wanted to keep speed. That's also another thing that I want to go into building this track that is it's speed. Like it's just based entirely in speed because the last motorsport track that I did was corner aesthetics, trees everywhere. I wanted to build something more for cornering. This one right here, there's a lot of cornerings, but they're more smooth corners, swooping corners, if you will. Very fast in nature type of corners. You can get in and get out. Um, there's really no hold up. Whatever your skill level is, if you're fast enough to, or if your driving ability is really good, you won't really have a problem here on this track at all. And that's what I wanted to go into building it. Same aesthetic here. A lot of these props like this, these little boards, you're gonna see them around the track. They're here just for like fillers and aesthetics, kind of like how this circular prop here is. It's just to fill in the area to make it not seem empty. Um, Tires here also keep from cutting the track. As you can see, they're spaced out a little bit to give a little bit more leeway. Even though this track is pretty wide, and you wouldn't even need to use the added space that I gave between the borders here. You wouldn't really need that. Because like I said, it's a pretty wide track. It's pretty speedy. Um, so it's going to flow like a motorsport or a racetrack is supposed to flow. Um, Here, same thing here. Although I have the wall here on the pit lane right here, the back of the left side pit lane actually. This wall here, this area felt pretty empty too. That's why I chose to put these borders here too, because I noticed on Sebring, these borders, they weren't everywhere. They were normally spaced out in areas, and they kind of gave me that same feel as a filler in some areas to bring some type of uh, visual to certain sections of the track. So I wanted to space these out too. Same thing goes for these little balloons here. Didn't know what else to add in this area other than these borders to basically give it some type of filler here. I wanted to add another one of these, but it wasn't wide enough. And when I did add it here, it kind of fell out of place because coming into this turn here and this turn here is very fast. Um, and if you're not careful, you can end in the You can end up in the gravel here, coming out of this corner because it is a fast corner. So adding one of those things, it didn't really flow well. Um, and there are some props that are like boxy, so it goes straight up, over, and straight down. Didn't really want to add that either because it didn't look aesthetically pleasing coming through here. Plus, there's not a lot of them, a lot of those props in here that are stylish in like nature. You got some that change colors. Majority of them are like DJ booth type things. So it really didn't go well here at all, actually. But I found that this right here fit um, perfect. They move, as you can see, as the wind blows. They have some type of movement to them. So as you're flying by, if you do see them or if you do catch them, if the time of day is very windy, you'll be able to see them. So it adds some type of feel to this portion. Tires here all the way around to keep from cutting the track because as I was play testing this, I noticed that in certain areas you would be able to like squeeze through. I didn't believe that anybody would take advantage of that, but to just take away from even the thought of it, some of these areas have more tires than other going around because it's a continuous turn. Um, Basically like this area. So coming into this corner right here, if you get on your brakes just early enough, you can actually take this around pretty smoothly, uh, not utilizing the full extent of this track, well, utilizing the full corner. But if you can get on your braking, if you can figure out a good braking zone in this area and take this corner, it's a very fast corner coming into this corner here. Now, about this turn, Originally, it wasn't like this as it was drawn on my whiteboard, and you can see the picture that's posted on my Instagram, which is pointed one dev of the drawing on the whiteboard. This area originally just went straight up and straight over into this corner here. That didn't feel or look good at all. Um, the how it was drawn on the whiteboard was it looked very what's the word I'm looking for? It looked good from the drawing, from the perspective of the drawing, but when I got here to build it into the stadium, this area from here up into there is very, very small. Although it looks, like I said, inside of the stadium it looks very big, but it is a very small. Um, it is very small once you begin to get building. So I had to open this area up to more possibilities, more corners, because on that same drawing, right in this area, there are as many corners as you see here, but they would have been shorter had I went up, and I wouldn't be able to utilize the track or build a track as I see fit. So kind of like this right here, this fast, windy corner right here. I wanted to get that same effect right here to tighten up the track and not leave so big of an open area here. And I found doing this and just extending the corner here in this area right here worked very good, especially coming off of this corner because since this is a continuous right-handed turn, like I said, if you can brake pretty good and come into this corner here, you can get um, the effect of just minimal braking, playing around with the throttle, getting on throttle full, and just coming through this corner as fast as you want, or as fast as you can actually. And I found that doing that and bringing this over and extending this corner, basically mimicking this type of effect right here with this corner, it worked very, very good coming in and out of that corner. Not only that, but just for the overall flow of the track. Um, Nothing in this area right here. Reason being is because we have this here, and we're going to get to this right here. That's actually the smaller version of that piece there, but and I actually tried to use that piece for the start line, but first place driver when place testing this would roll off of the top because it would place the car above that prop piece. So I had to find another place for it in the work right there, and I just went for that one right there. It's pretty big, but it doesn't look as big when you are driving. Feels pretty natural in its place. So I didn't add anything right here because we're in between not only the walling and the road space or asphalt space right here. We also had this prop right here and that prop right there to basically make this area feel like it isn't completely empty. Plus, it's a pretty fast section, so passing this zone, you wouldn't even notice it. Added these boards right here because this is a lot of dirt in this area. Originally, I wanted to add like tires, like a tire wall. Like if you do go off, you would basically slam into a tire wall. But in I don't while play testing, it's kind of hard to get that far into the dirt on any part of this track, really. So these boards right here actually help fill in this area quite a bit. Even though it's some opening over here in this section, but you wouldn't even get that far out. Plus these boards, you got like I said, the stadium, the lights and things right here, so this corner doesn't feel completely empty. And because there is no prop right here on this straight, uh, I noticed also too on Sebring, some of the boards they went around a corner or going into a corner. You might have one board that's facing where you're coming from. So I wanted to bring that same look into this corner to basically fill it in. Um, and it worked very nicely because you can see all of these things, these boards, these little boards right here, the tires, these boards coming into this corner here. Although, even though, um, like I said, we got this here and that prop there to basically fill in this area. You got the stadiums, the backdrop, the lights, the camera here that I had to add also too because this area has nothing in it. Um, going back to that point of all of the open areas, right here, like here, and here. Didn't want to really add RVs or anything everywhere because that does take up the percentage and makes it slower to load into the track. Not only that, didn't really want it to feel like very cluttered. Um, Minimal is what I was going for. Didn't want everything to feel very cluttered. I wanted the track and only the track to basically shine. So coming out of this corner right here, this is another fast swooping corner. This road right here, I believe, is about 4 cars wide and 4.25 cars wide. It might be a little bit more like 4.5. So coming out of this corner, you can come out of this corner pretty quick and still end up not even really on the borders here. Also, too, about these borders, you see these borders everywhere around the track. In places where it's flat at and there you're not coming in a corner, I wanted to do like if you notice on the Nürburgring, there's like stone where you have right here in certain areas, or like this concrete or this brick looking texture. I wanted to do that, but um, a lot of the props in here that I would even be able to use to basically use those, they blend in with the dirt. Same color, you wouldn't even see them. And it just took away and it made these areas feel a lot more empty. Since they did blend in, it made it look like there was just completely just dirt everywhere. So I decided to go with these, stretch them out coming out of the corner so that you didn't end up in the dirt then transition into the board. So a lot of these have been, they're like very, they coming out of a turn or going into a turn. They kind of are matched up with maybe about a quarter of the end borders when you're coming out of a corner or going into one. Same mistake here, borders flow all the way towards the end wall here to basically give this area some fullness. Same thing goes here. You don't really see these borders here. I think I have these little things here on every, when you're going into a corner, whether it be a left hand corner or a right hand corner, just to give that same aesthetic of that 100, 200, 300 like yard thing. Like I said, these borders don't really come with numbers on them, so I didn't really use them for the turn indicator or the turn coming up type of indicator. I just used them for aesthetic. They're blue. They don't really look like it. Here you can't really see them. Um, I mean, you see them while you're driving, but sun positioning, you'll be able to see the color on some of them, but not all of them. So this corner right here, same thing. It's a continuous corner, continuous left-hand corner. So these tires right here, I wanted to cut out the cutting. Like I said, there's only 4 checkpoints on this track. So there's a checkpoint here. There's a checkpoint there just before the pit lanes. There's a checkpoint um, here. There's a checkpoint there. Those are the 4 checkpoints of the track. Like I said, just wanted the track to feel like a very open area. Didn't want you to have to hear that sound every corner you're going to. So to take away from that when building tracks is to basically eliminate the option of cutting the track entirely. And when you do that, you can use less checkpoints. Um, you can even build a circuit track with no checkpoints actually, and it'll flow very nicely if you take away the ideal of cutting a track. And I build most of my tracks like that, just for myself, because I also don't want to hear that sound. I also don't want to see checkpoints all over the place. So this idea right here of mine worked very nicely in doing so. And you see it ends right here. I didn't have to really bring that over. Just wanted to match up, like where the red begins, there's a tire that starts right there with that one. Where the white begins, there's a tire that starts right there one. Then I just fill in the middle as I go around with the tires. Um, Now going into, I believe this is turn. I know that there is 16 corners. There's 16 turns in total on this track. This here is turn 14. Another Also too, this corner comes from a track uh, as well. Once I like, because other than the Sebring start line to first corner to second turn area, all this other stuff is like original based off of my drawing. But I noticed that this corner right here gives the same feel as the what track, the Silverstone. Like there's a corner coming off of Silverstone where um, it's coming off of the straightaway, and you come into the corner here, and when you come out of the corner right there, you are immediately met with a right hand overturn, and this right here kind of gives that same effect. The only zone on this track where there is more than minimum braking, um, or not really braking, throttle play, uh, like playing with the throttle to basically come into this corner as tight as you possibly can, is this corner here. It's the only one like that because you are immediately met with um, this oval right hand turn here, which also mimics that same type of throttle control coming into this corner here, um, going out, coming out of the corner. Now you can come out of the corner with some type of speed, but if your car doesn't have as much grip, you can find yourself still on the inside turn into um, up until coming to turn 15 here. Um, so coming into this corner here, and they're gonna pass right there. Very blue. They come in different colors as well. But I wanted to add something here. As you can see, the stadium seats, they're like many different colors. So it also helped with a lot of the props that I used here to basically give this the type of feel that it is. Because without this, a lot of things are like white, brown, gray, things of that nature. So um, I wanted to go with something else. I just chose a color. My favorite color is blue, so I just went with blue here. Worked out pretty good with there being so much red and white and brown and gray on here. The green and the blue and things of that nature basically helps with the aesthetic or the pop of certain areas aesthetically. So this corner right here, if you come out of if you come out of turn 13 here, if you come out of turn 13 here, decent, you can find yourself still on the inside of this corner, uh, coming around this corner pretty quick, coming to turn 14 pretty quick. And just to stop for a second, this prop right here, like I said, this prop right here, I originally used it above the start line, but you can see how low it is to the ground. And because I used asphalt roads here, as you can see, the stadium is all grass. So the track itself is propped up above the ground. Not a lot. It actually pretty much sits, like you can see how it sits on the grass, but since it is pretty high, uh, that first place driver would always start the race above here and it would roll off and slam into the ground. So I had to find a prop, and luckily they have two different versions of these. Um, I wanted to use this one also too because it wasn't all green. It had some white right here. It basically helped with flow. It kind of broken up some of that green. Um, but that one worked pretty good as well because there is gray boarding, metal framing on it. So it worked pretty good. But originally I wanted to use this because it didn't have a lot of that green. Um, so I deleted it, and until I got to this corner here is when I figured out that I could use this here because what I was going to do is use another one of these props here, but didn't really want to keep the same thing on every corner. So I try to use as many different things as I possibly can to help fill in the area or give some type of aesthetic to a certain area. And it's worked really, really good here, coming especially in this corner and out of this corner, because this corner felt pretty empty without anything here, and this was just enough, just wide enough to where it was behind the tires, and it gave a little bit of room right here where this dirt is, um, just in case if you came through the corner a little bit too fast and you were just on this dirt section here. All right, coming out of turn 14, here is a very important area of the track because this here. Um, so this track, this pit lane, I made a safety area, kind of like in GT3 racing. You have that the safety vehicle, the safety car that basically leads all of the cars into the race, and then it breaks off into the pit lane, and then the rest of the cars are rolling into the start lane to start the race. So you'll see when I get to the pit lane that the security area or the safety car area, it is designated with the same props. As you can see, I can lift this up here. It's just like a little border thing. This mimics that. So um, this right here indicates your what side of the pit lane that you go into. Now, I created a double-sided pit lane. It's a functional pit lane. Um, and the pit lane is based off of the position that you are in when you pass this. So if you're in first place when you pass this here, coming into this corner, once you pass this, if you're in first place, your designated pit area is going to be on the right side here. Um, the one side of the pit lane is odd numbers, and one side of the other pit lane is even numbers. So odd numbers are here on the right side. The left side is for even numbers. Even numbers go all the way from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 to 12th place when you pass this, and the other one are designated for first, third, fifth, seventh, ninth, and 11th place when you pass here. So if you pass here, whatever place you are in when you pass this this safety signal on the road here designates your pit lane entry. I did that to keep people from taking pit lane spots, bunching up in one side of the pit lane, because you don't really know which side to go to. So I gave some type of functionality to the pit lane itself to basically help this track flow very, very nicely. So let's just say on one lap, you're in first place, third place, whatever place you're in, and you pass this, you have a place in this pit lane that is your designated spot. Let's just say going into that next lap, let's just say you're in fifth place and you take first place. Well, then your pit lane changes now. When you pass this, if you were in fifth place on the previous lap when you pass this, then your designated spot will be the right lane side pit lane, and you're going to find it have the number 5 above your area where you stop at, to basically repair your engine if you have any damage, refuel your car, your power percentage. You basically refill all of that once you get to your position in the pit lane. So first place wouldn't really be a accurate representation of where you would go to a pit lane because, like I said, it's odd numbers and even numbers. So let's just say fifth place was a previous lap. You passed here, you went into the pit lane, and you got to the designated fifth place area on the pit lane. Let's just say a couple laps go down, and now you made it up to second place. Well, now your pit lane changes. You go left side. Left side is for all of the even numbers. So you would go left side to your designated second place position pit lane area, which would be up here in the front or the side there. So that's the functionality of this right here. You always want to pay attention to this and your placement to basically help this go smooth as it possibly can, and we don't have any pit lane confusion, anybody taking spots, you not having a spot, and that putting you, not taking time away from you in the pit lanes to basically get back on the road to complete your laps to potentially win the race. So that's that function right there. That's very important that you pay attention to this coming out of turn 15. So now we're going to go to the pit lane, the most important area and my favorite area. So we see those that prop, that border again, safety border, basically indicating not only you going into the pit lane, but I did not want to take these walls here all the way around because then it would be closed, and then it didn't really add. It looked weird doing that. So I outlined the road also coming into this corner, which is turn 16 here. I did that to also because there was a couple of other installations of this here, of how I wanted this to look, different props that I used to basically go in to carry you into the pit lane, to basically give structure to you coming out of that corner, going into the next turn, and this turn basically flowing where you know when to stay into the corner and not going out of the corner and things of that nature. And these worked very well, not only as an indicator of where the pit lane is, or where the going into the pit lane, or how to go into the pit lane is, but also to keep that structure going into this corner right here, so you won't go off of the track or basically be confused and end up in the pit lane. So turn 16. Also to these here, there are multiple of these props here for the pit lane. So as you know, when you go into a pit lane, you have to decelerate, slow down basically. So these props come in 40, I think 30, 40, 50, and 70. Um, and they're in kilometers per hour. So I looked up miles per hour, and I wanted going into the pit lane, your speed to come down to about 30-ish miles per hour, 30-ish, 40-ish mile per hour, and so I went through quite a bit of these props here with the kilometers an hour numbers on them, and 50 worked pretty good because I think that's right between 34 miles per hour. It's right between 30 miles per hour and 40 miles per hour. I think it's like 34 miles per hour. So you coming into the pit, you would slow down to about 30, between 30 35 miles per hour. Wanted to keep, you know, keep that overall motorsport feel going into the pit lane. And here we go, the pit lane. This is the most detailed area on this track. As you can see, I built um, these little, how I built this structure right here. Also, too, about this before I go into how I built this and why it is built the way that it is built. As you can see, there is the pit lanes mimic each other, left and right side. So there are spaces here and here that are still open for the safety car drivers. If you all want to, because this is built for the not only myself and my friends, but I built this specifically for the Forza community because I know that the stadium does not have a track here that feels like it belongs into the motorsport inside of the stadium, and really takes advantage of the stadium's the seating, the lights, and stuff like this. So this was a perfect area to build a motorsport inspired type track at. So for those who want to do like certain events, you can have two safety car drivers. You can have one, two. I didn't want to leave it completely open because not everybody needs to be a safety car driver. So I left two slots open on the one on the left and one on the right for a safety car driver. So how that will be done, just an idea that I came up with. You will all start depending on who's the safety car driver. If you start at the end, nobody else moves. You make your way to the front of the pack and you lead that first lap around. And as you make it here, you will basically pull off into the pit lanes here, park up, sit in this area or do whatever you want to. And all of the other drivers will basically, you would come to the agreement of a certain miles per hour that you would run to until you get to the start line, or until you pass one of these props here, which I also added to help fill in the this straight section into the start line because it did feel a little bit empty, although the pit lane is very highly detailed. But yeah, you're gonna actually work like that. Now, going into the safety car area, I wanted also to all of these things to feel to be filled. Um, didn't really want any empty spots or for this area to feel empty. So we got some light props here. These lights here work perfect because they're not heavy when they light things. They're like a very, this prop lights areas like softly, and you'll see it, although it's daytime, you can see it like on the truck here, like it just illuminates certain things very, very softly. It's not like a blinding light in this area because certain props that you use, especially light props in here, because the stadium is already lit with plenty of lights. The closer that you place certain lights together, especially if they're different light props, one light will shine extremely brighter than others because it's a glitch. It's a glitch when they're both together that close. So um, I'm glad they added this in here with update 21 because all of the other basically beam like lights they come in colors, so you got green, pink, and blue, and there's even a longer beam, but it is blue light, and it kind of, when it shines on vehicles or areas, you get this like fake look, like the cars or everything looks very like cartoony and like fake almost. These right here are white light, so they're not blue light, they're white light, and they also have that same effect as these lights here, very soft. In the way that they illuminate an area, and you can see it right here, like on the tires, how they're just this like they're lit very like it's like a very soft uh, lit on top of the tires, and as it goes down. So into the props, although you wouldn't really see this unless you like the aesthetics of certain tracks and you pause and you like driving with people and you just stop to look at the work that went into building a track. A lot of the props that I use are to get like very aesthetic driven, very heavy on the aesthetic side. So like these right here, these I think they're called baller or something like that. But the place right here, they don't really have a function. They just stick up. But I placed them right there to basically just fill in the area like as it is on this side. So we have these essentially how I use them are like gasoline for like gasoline storage and stuff like that. Crates right here might be for like tools or parts or whatever it is. Just wanted to basically add that. And as you see, is over here is different. There's more of um, these little things right here. These little and there's less totes over here, a different color as well that might have a different meaning. Maybe these are blue for tools and red for parts or fire extinguishers, which is not really a prop on here. Now that I'm thinking of it. Also, too, wanted to carry that same here because I wanted this to be like a walkway. So I wanted to add a little bit more function into this area as if there were like a walk-in area. So I carry these two lights back here, soft illuminated, illuminating like lights. Because without these, although this area is pretty lit, because these lights also do carry through certain props, so they'll light an area through a wall like a concrete wall like this. And like I said, with it being lights like this, it's pretty like heavily illuminated. So I added like a TV back here, kind of like how you see in certain pit lanes, the drivers sit right there, or you have them basically the people watching over the race for each designated team. I couldn't necessarily do that within the pit lane stop areas, which you're going to see in a minute when I go there. So I wanted to add it here in the safety area, just for the aesthetic of them sitting here watching over the race. And believe it or not, these TVs are only here because I added those the camera props around the track. So have individuals like give the illusion of someone sitting right here, the safety team sitting right here watching this wreck on the track, yellow flag, things of that nature, and then they come out, get into their vehicle, reaching here if they need anything. Like I said, there could be like fire extinguishers, things of that nature, tires here. These tires are only in here also too, like for the corners where you see the tires right there to cut off cutting. So those tires are fixed props, meaning that there are another set of tire props on this game that you can actually hit and they break apart. They act as like tires, like on certain tracks. These right here are fixed. You can't go through them. They're solid. So if you hit them, you will be stopped. So I decided to use these other than those other tires because you can just drive through them. So there's no elimination of the ability or the even the thought of cutting the track or like hitting somebody, basically. So those are here just like theoretically, or just like for the aesthetic. Like let's just say if you could drive through these tires like the other props, um, then the safety team will come grab these, put them on the back of a vehicle. That's why you see these trucks right here. These are safety truck vehicles. They don't move, but like I said, it's just for aesthetic. The same way for these the golf carts here. Grab the tires, go out into the area where the crash happened, and replace the tires basically. So everything is basically heavily aesthetic based, and like on the road, they're indicating the like how we indicate the pit lane sides, your position right there when you pass that to basically give you an indicator of which side pit lane you have to go to. Um, these right here also are the indicator for the safety area. It's all safety, it's all pit lane related. All right, now we get to the last and final part, the pit lane, and my favorite part. Okay, this area right here, there's another part like that up there, just behind second place pit lane position stop part. This was an open area, which was going to be an extended port, a part of the safety car stopping area. But I closed that up because I didn't want this to be like a huge open area, and I didn't really want to add more safety vehicles there, or even add any more like aesthetic parts right there. So I closed it up because that also dives into your object percentage, which you can see I'm at 87. The higher percentage that you go, the slower it loads you into the race itself because of the complexity of the track that you've built. Basically, that's the other function to the percentage thing up there, other than it telling you how much you've actually put into building a track. Um, Pit lane design. Aside from this design here of mine that I used, top being open here. Some pit lanes are very minimal and have a very old school feel to them. Um, Certain tracks have that very small, not very flashy pit lanes. Like how you say, I have some pit lanes on some motorsport tracks where you have the glass, the area where you have the people up top looking out of it. It's like an open area. It's almost like a storefront. It's like stairs. It's very open, garage, pit lane type of area. I wanted to go with a more minimal, old school feel to the pit lane. Um, um, to not really take away from the inside of the stadium. Very minimal, which I was going for. All right, pit lanes are color designated as well, because also, other than what I was just talking about, the true functionality of the double-sided pit lane, if you all want to do teams, like a team type of thing, you can. We got green team, blue team, and that way, it's no longer based off of your position. Now you can come into pit lanes based off of your team color. So if you blue team, your pit lane stopping area will always be designated 10 and 7. If you're red team, it will always be 8 and 1. If you're yellow team, it will always be 6 and 11. Orange, 4 and 5. Black, 2 and 9. So this is a multifunctional pit lane, um, which all of that information about this pit lane and everything, you can come back to this video. It'll be in the description for this video once it gets posted on YouTube. But I also have the share codes once I place this video up. But it's a very highly functional pit lane, highly functional. So let's go into the design. So uh, these here, I used these before I even knew that these were in here, because these actually look more like um, gasoline props than these do. This right here is also an electric. It's for EV vehicles. You see the little charging thing, But in the pit lanes on motorsport, like when you're looking at the videos, they come and they bring the gas, these things right here, the tube where they put the gas in the vehicle. So this prop is the only one inside of the prop store that has these on it. There's another one of these props, but it's a pay booth. Although this is EV, um, I used it to give the aesthetic of the gasoline. Also, we have an area for the tires, and remember me talking about those lights and how they softly light up an area. I use those right here, and you can actually see it even in the daytime how it lights up the tires, and at nighttime it looks really, really good, uh, and it helps out. There's no lights here in this area because it's well lit, like it's a very well lit area. So I didn't choose to put any of those single bar lights here. Because like I said, some of these lights bleed through the walls. So this light actually, although it softly illuminates this area is also illuminated as well with there being lights here. Um, and there's some lights some other place. Also, these have lights on them as well. Where this clear area is barred around here. So you can, like, the pit lane is well lit. Even though it's like softly lit, it's well lit. You can't miss anything, even your place where you're supposed to stop here. So all of them mimic that same thing. Light here, the same number of tires, gasoline, uh, 3 gasoline things to basically fill this up, or where it can be connected by a tube. Like you can't see behind here, but the tubing basically goes into the wall here, and it can be connected to these. Like I said, it's very highly aesthetic. Another thing about these pit lanes, this piece right here, you can lift that. It's just a curved piece. I added this so you wouldn't slam into the person in front of you. And it also lets you know that when you stop here, by the way, you stop here, front tires are not in this area. You actually stop in front of this white line. So the splitter on the car, the tip of your front bumper is literally in this area here on this white line. This right here, this curved piece, really is here to give you an indicator to turn right. This road right here, you do not stop on. This is the leaving the pit lane road, so it's the straight line in out of the pit lane. This is for outgoing traffic. So this is really just telling you to peel off, turn right, as sharp right as you possibly can to do this. Because if you don't do that, you will end up hitting the back of the person in front of you, and that will add damage to your engine and your power percentage, your engine's power percentage. Because this, like I said, this is a highly functional pit lane where you can come in, refuel the car, fix the engine. If you hit tires on the outside, you actually lose horsepower and stuff like it's very functional. There's they call it DRS. Don't really know what that like I know what it is, don't know what the individual letters stand for at this moment. But I figured out how to do that inside of the rules of play. Took me very extremely long to do so, but it will feel like a functional pit lane where you come and refuel the car, repair the car. It won't repair like the actual damages to the car, but the damages to the engine and your power outage and the fuel and things of that nature. But it's very highly functional. So all of these mimic. It's the same on this side as it is over on the this side. Same ordeal. Lights, lit tires, the EV machine, which is a charging station, but it's for gas. Hence the refueling your vehicle when you come into the pit lane with the function of the rules to play in this game. And here are the positions. So you always know if you're not doing team racing, and your team racing will be based off of your color team, so you all will have maybe like the same color car. Your teammate and you will have the same car. Not necessarily like you don't have to have the same livery, but if you want to, you can do it that way. But it would be the same car, and designated by color. But if you're doing like PvP, everybody versus everybody, once you pass whatever place you are in, when you pass this indicator right here at turn 15, tells you what side pit lane you go into. Even numbers are left side, odd numbers are right side, and that will always be your pit lane stop position until your position changes when you pass this. So like I said, to reiterate, if you're in fifth place when you pass this on one lap, you being the same person, you will always go to number 5, which is fifth place designated pit lane stop here, orange, right side. Next lap, or maybe 3 laps down the line, you pass this and you've made it to second place. Well, then now your pit lane stops and your pit lane changes. You go left side all the way up here, second place, black. They're designated by color and number for position. It's very highly function. And yeah, I think that covers literally everything. So this is the track right here. Took me 3 days, 3 days to build. Um, 4 hours building it on stream, and a little bit more time off stream, basically putting into it. But yeah, this is the track. Can't wait to see you all racing here, having fun here. Like I said, this track is built for the Forza community. A lot of my tracks now that I do build are for the Forza community to basically give you all highly detailed, highly functional type tracks to basically play on, so that you can have something here rather than basically just going to drive on the given racing, the given race tracks or racing blueprint tracks that are around this entire map. It gives you something to do with your friends, to even come here by yourself, which takes me into my next point. The blueprints for this track, there are going to be 5 in total. You're going to have your first one, which is I haven't decided, between 8 to 10 laps, which is going to be, it's going to have a night version and a day version. It's going to either be 8 or 10 laps on that, which is like the standard 2 variations of this blueprint. There's going to be a 30 lap endurance version. The endurance version, and there's going to be a 50 lap track day, open track day version. The open track day is for you all to just, like, say if you cruising, right? You know, doing like a car meet or something, you all pull and park up to the stadium. You would load this up as an open track day. The open track day will mimic the time of day it is just driving outside of this event. So if it's nighttime when you all are chilling and having a car meet at the stadium, when you load into this, it will be nighttime. Um, and all of my open track day tracks are like that. You bring whatever car you want to. You can bring a car to come here and test. You can bring a car here to challenge your friends. You can come here to just cruise around the track. It's to mimic open track days as they are in real life, like the Nürburgring has open track days. That's its function. It will be 50 laps. It will be a rolling time, like the endurance race will be a rolling time as well. All of these blueprints will be rolling time. They will not be fixed, which means that if you are on the endurance one and the open track, they will be the only ones where you see the time of day actually change as you're driving here. Also, too, they will be the only two that utilizes the that utilize the pit lane function. Well, no, never mind. The I have to figure that out because the the 10 lap base versions, the night and day, I might do it there as well, but it's just 10 laps, so you can pull into the pit lane to fuel your vehicle up. You know what? I might actually do that. I'm gonna play test it first to see how it like feels, because you could be wanting to come here to do the 10 laps to basically like time test yourself to see what lap you can get, what's your best lap. Or you might even want to come here because you wouldn't necessarily use the open track day to race people. That's what you would use the endurance variation of this blueprint track and the 10 lap version. That's, you would basically use those for that reason. Um, you will only use the those functions for those two when you're actually doing a race. or setting up a race with people. Now, the fifth version. It's not really a secret version, but that variation of this blueprint will be a community challenge. That community challenge consists of me challenging the community to race in place of time. This is the only variation of this track that will have a leaderboard, and it will be week to week or bi-weekly. It will be top. This leaderboard will consist of, um, let's just say, top 20 to top 25 people to place times, or that have beat my time here on this track. On that, it will always change. It will never be the same. It will never be the same community challenge. There will be a different car. There will be, whether it's built or stock. Um, the thumbnail for that, it will be, I will make the thumbnail. It'll show the car that I use. It being stock. It would have the PI number on it, horsepower. Like, let's just say if I use the stock BMW M8, it will have a certain number of laps, and that will be the community challenge. To come in, use that exact car, to beat my time here on this track, and you will be placed into the top 25 leaderboard of people who beat my time. That leaderboard will be in the description underneath that YouTube video of all of the people who placed a faster time than me on this track with that car, stock or PI number. It will be PI number based, stock, built. There will be, and all of that information will be given in that video. It will literally be a video of me placing my time here on the track, and that video will be the community challenge, the Forza community challenge. It will be a video. You will look at the video, see the time that I placed it, and the information will be in the description, and the leaderboard will be in the comment section of the people who placed the time. It will always change. I will probably only do a week, because depending on the people who actually participate, that those will always change. It would also have a hashtag associated to it to send to my Instagram, and information of what you need to send in order to be placed in on the leaderboard. So more than likely it will be you just hitting your game capture button, and you would, if you have an Instagram, you would basically just send a picture of that game capture of, at the end of the race, your name, the car, the PI, your best lap time, because it will be based off of what you got at the end of the race. So it would have your best lap time, and it would also have your lap completed time. All of that will be in that comment section with your name, the time that you placed, your best lap time here, and your completed lap time if you beat my time here on this track. And it will be either be top 25 only, top 20, maybe top 15. I won't do top 10 because it seems a little bit short. So it'll probably be top 25. But like I said, it'll probably be like weekly. But there will always be a video for that one, and that variation of this blueprint will always change. That's the only one that will be changed, and everything else will be static for you to come in with your friends, the community, people, and utilize this track forever, however long you all play this game. I wanted it to be highly functional, highly usable track, and yeah, this is from me to you all, as I will be using this a lot myself along with my other motorsport style track, and there will be more motorsport style tracks to come all the way up until October the 10th when Motorsport 8 drops. But yeah, this is X.VI.X Motorsport, and I can't wait for you all to use it. This has been the end of the video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comment section of this track so far. Let me know when you all use it. Also, if you look down into the description, you will see the share codes for all of these. The only one that you will not see is for the community challenge variation of this, because I have to go in and choose a car and set that up to basically put that out, and you will get a video when that community challenge start. And from that point until the same day, the next following week, that challenge is going to start and it's going to end. But yeah, it's going to be me. I'm Pointed. Thank you all, and I hope you all enjoy this track.